20 years of trying, 20 years of frustration. Dale Earnhardt will come to the caution flag to win the Daytona 500. Finally.
Out of turn 4 after 17 years of effort. The Daytona 500 belongs to Franklin, Tennessee's Darrell Waltrip. He's done it.
To the flag.
Come on, Mikey. You got it, man. You got it. You got it. You got it. You got it. Mikey! All right.
Michael Waltrip wins.
All right.
Young Petty is finished. A victim of ambition. The race goes on.
How about Dale? Is he okay?
Schrader has climbed out of his car. He and Earnhardt have crashed together in Olivia turns 3 and 4.
Kurt's pushing the 97th 3 mile. He's going to make the pass.
He gets by Stewart.
And here comes Gordon.
The new Daytona International Speedway is designed for cars not yet built. Cars that cannot be built until man has learned the limits of today's car. Only the surf recalls the roaring past.
Thanks for tuning in to another episode of the Lap Zero podcast. My name is David, and I'm joined by my co-hosts, Antonio, Norman, and Levi. This week, we'll be talking about the Daytona 500. So sit back, relax, and enjoy this episode about the Great American Race.
Let's touch on the history of this race, because it is pretty neat how all that goes down, like how it all started.
Yeah, man, before we get too deep into this, I thought it'd be cool to reminisce about the becomings of Daytona International Speedway a little bit. It kind of all started, we could talk a little bit more about the foundation of NASCAR and stuff, but as we know, Bill France Sr. and the France family basically created a lot of this from the ground up, particularly in Daytona. And it all started on the beach about 1949 under what's now known as the NASCAR Association. And they were racing like 49 Buicks on the beach in Daytona. And it was like a 4.2 mile course. It started as a 3.1 mile course, but then they expanded it to 4.2 miles. And it was on the sand and a little bit on the road. And it was just wild. They actually ran it as an official calendar race from 1949 to 1959. There was racing on the beach all the way back to 1927. Actually, one of the first land speed records was set on the Daytona Beach road course on the beach. 1927, it was 203.7 miles per hour.
Dude, that's nuts.
What?
Yeah,
That's
land
nuts
speed
in a
record.
car like that.
It was 1,000 horsepower Sunbeam, and he did 203.79, which it's funny because that's kind of similar to top speeds at Daytona International Speedway today. And yeah, that was the land speed record for the whole world in 1927. Anyway, they raced there for quite a while. There was a break for the war. Don't forget, World War II was going on right before this all happened. And so that's kind of why it became so accessible too, is that after the war, there was a lot of steel left over and there was a lot of cheap cars available. And so a lot of people started buying cars and racing cars. And like I said, they raced there till 1959. And that's when William France Sr., or Bill France Sr., as we know him, decided to build the Daytona International Speedway as we know it today. It was built around some existing road course. Like there was a lease given to him by the city. I think he paid $10,000 a month for 20 years. Is like not a lot of money today. Well, today in today's money, it's a ton, but it doesn't sound like a lot. Like the lease for the entire piece of property for Daytona International Speedway was $10,000 a month.
I think he made his investment back.
Yeah, so he built it from the ground up. They had their inaugural race in 1959, and it was attended by over 200,000 people. in 1959. Became, you know, as we know it today, the Great American Race. And it was known that all the way back then. It was built, as we know, as a 2.5-mile tri-oval. It's been under really similar configuration since the very beginning. They've done some work on the grandstands over the years. Like, I think it was, maybe you guys can check me on this, but it was like 2000, mid 2000s, they removed the back grandstands. And honestly, it hasn't changed much at all since 1959, other than that. Um, the 24 Hours of Daytona, of course, is run here. That started running in the early 60s. If you've seen Ford versus Ferrari, that was actually like in Daytona International Speedway's infancy. But the road course had been there for a long time. And of course, it's found a special place in everyone's hearts, whether you're an endurance racer or a stock car fan. Of course, they do flat track, supercross. I mean, there's a lot of events that go on at Daytona International Speedway. And here we are today in 2023, still doing the same thing. Viewership ratings were huge in the 2000s. Like, I mean, 15 to 20 million people were tuning in to watch this on TV. And ratings have gone down quite a bit into COVID, like from 2021, 22 down into 2020, 2019. We saw some of the lowest ratings ever in 2019, 2020. But now they're coming back up a little bit. We're expecting to see at least 10 million people tune into the broadcast this weekend for the actual Sunday race. And of course, like I said, we're expecting some of the highest viewership ever live too. They sold out the grandstands a couple months before the event. And we're seeing the resurgence of Daytona 500 as a staple on every American's calendar.
Yeah. I feel like there's more hype. Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be a big deal, man. And honestly, it's always been a big deal. This race has always been a big deal. Bill France basically founded NASCAR in a Daytona Beach hotel. And it's funny because we're going to talk a little bit about charters later and a little bit about independent teams and things like that. And this has been going on since 1959. Like, race promoters have had to find a way to fill the grid with people because it looks good for the TV and it looks good for the audience. And we see that still today at Daytona, even though NASCAR has gone through so many different phases through the years. I guess not just at the oval race here, but at all races, that it's so important that you fill the grid with people. And it's just funny. I was reading so much about the drama behind racing in those early days and just how cutthroat it was as a promoter. It wasn't hard to get into the race, but what was hard was to get good people into the race so that it was good viewership. Anyway, it's totally worth a Google on your own end. But yeah, that's a brief history of Daytona International Speedway. I encourage everyone to look into it more, but it's an amazing place. It has an amazing history, and I think it's going to continue to produce amazing races into the future. I think it'd be good to know a little bit how these guys can get into this race, though. I'm actually excited to learn a little bit about the qualifying process at Daytona. Antonio, do you want to fill us in on that?
Yeah, let's do it. So, typically it's a bit different. We got like Speed Weeks is typically longer. Like it's usually a whole week. This year they've cut it down, so it's just Wednesday through Sunday. So what's weird this year is there's no practice prior to the qualifying. So we just go right into qualifying, which is going to be interesting because I'm curious how much that's going to affect some of the open teams. Like, they're going to have no practice. If you've never run it before, it's just like, hey, you're going 200 miles an hour and doing a couple laps and calling it a day to start us off. But, yeah, so Wednesday is just, your typical qualifying. You do whoever does the fastest lap throughout the day, obviously takes the pole. In the Daytona 500 sake, though, only the top two cars are actually locked into the 500 immediately, and that's actually your qualifying position. So yeah, literally qualifying just is literally for the front row pretty much. The rest of it qualifies you for the duels, so which moves us on to Thursday. So the duels, for those who don't know, essentially it's just a weirder heat race. Like it's done quite a bit differently, but it's pretty much like a heat race, like similar to what you'd see on dirt. So 2 duels will be run each race, 60 laps, 150 miles. The starting lineup of the duels will be just determined by qualifying from the previous day. So all cars qualified in odd position are going to go to duel 1, and they race for an odd starting position. So that means if you qualified odd on Wednesday, you're going to duel 1, and you're only going to race for a position on the inside row in qualifying. And obviously the same, but the opposite for the outside row. So anyone who qualified in an even position, they'll go to duel 2, and they'll race for an even starting position in the 500. Another thing to keep in mind is these duels are pretty important for the sake of the open teams. So only 40 cars can actually qualify for the Daytona 500, although in my personal opinion, they should just let everyone come if you got a car.
Yeah, what?
But
This year there's only going to be like 2 guys that have to go home. It's like just
yeah,
let
it's
them
just
be in
like
the
just line
race.
them up. Just line them
Yeah.
up. But
Anyways, sorry.
I get it from
Breaking
I get it though
tradition,
from a
though.
safety standpoint.
And
Yeah,
tradition.
I know. We've already broken so many of them though. Like, what's another one at this point? But anyways, yeah. As it stands currently, we got 42 entrants, as I'm sure you just heard. So this means that all 36 chartered teams will qualify. However, or not teams. There's like 36 drivers, I should say, because it's not necessarily 36 separate teams. However, the 6 open teams will have to battle it out in the duels to see which 4 of the 6 make it. So I've heard there's an even split. So we should see in each duel 18 chartered cars, and we'll see 3 open cars. So that means 1 open car will be eliminated. So when you're watching the duels, it might not be too spicy in regarding to everybody racing for qualifying positions because they don't want to junk a car, but those open cars are definitely ones to keep your eye on because they actually will be racing each other, and you might see some stuff happen there. And I actually believe Norman's got a full list of all those drivers that are joining us this year for the open team, so I know you got that, Norman.
Yeah, this is.
I have a quick question though. Can a open driver take pole normally during qualifying, or does he
Yes.
have to compete
Yeah.
in the
No,
duels?
yeah. So technically, if he was qualified first or second, he's locked into the front row. He will make it. Usually, it doesn't happen because the charter teams are open teams. They don't have as much funding and stuff, so they're not the fastest on qualifying day by themselves. But yeah, I mean, if
So
they qualify first or second,
my boy Travis could put her on pole.
technically, yes, he could put it on pole and win. Yeah, or not win, but qualify in. Like he would be done. He wouldn't have to worry about it.
Enough said.
And that's something else, Norman. You'll get to the charter teams. I'm sorry, but I also want to touch on that. The first and second place are locked into the front row, but they have to compete in the duel.
What?
I just always thought that was crazy. So you've qualified front row, but you have to start the duel. So you can either start it and stay out front, or get in the very back and hope you don't get into a wreck.
And how do they determine starting position for the duel?
Through regular qualifying.
So if you
two-lap
if you take pole, you start on pole for the duel.
Yep. And then you got to either get the hell out of the way or stay out front to stay out of the wreck.
Both the guys that locked in will be on pole in their duel.
And it's good TV, I guess.
Yeah, like I've seen them pull over just completely down the backstretch and let everybody go by because they're in. There's no reason to beat their car up. And then I've seen some of them say, I'm going to stay out front because it's the only safe place on the track.
And a driver that knows this very well is Alex Bowman. The last 5 years, he started on the front row of the 500.
That's
really
nuts. I didn't know that. That is crazy. So there you go. I bet you that's going to be on somebody's pick at the end of this thing. But anyway, sorry, Norman. Back to these open charter teams.
Yeah, so we got these open teams. We've got 6 teams. They are race in or go home. It's how it's always been since I remember watching the 500. It's changed a little bit. How you can get into the 500 with different style provisionals, but we don't have previous winners or past champion provisionals anymore. So it's Jimmy Johnson is one of these teams in the 84 car. He's a 7-time champion. He does not have a championship provisional anymore. So he will be racing his way in. He'll also be racing against the likes of Travis Pastrana. I think this will be his second or third 500. I think he's run 1 or 2 in lower series in the trucks. So I guess technically not a 500, but a truck series race.
He's been on the track, yeah.
Yeah. He will actually be running the 2311 Racing Toyota in the 67, which is Denny Hamlin and Michael Jordan's team. So he'll have Bubba Wallace and I forgot his other teammate,
Tyler Reddick,
to help him on track during the main race. He could be alone. He could qualify at odd number and his teammates qualify in the even spots. He will not have his teammates for the duel, that means. To get through a little bit more of these, the 62, Alston Hill. And then in the number 50, you got Connor Daly. Zane Smith, your defending Truck Series champion in the 36, Front Row Motorsports Ford.
Nice.
And then you got Chandler Smith in the number 13 Chevrolet. All looking to race their way in. If they don't, they're packing up and going home early, boys.
Yeah.
I'm curious to see how some of those guys like Chandler Smith, Zane Smith, Austin Hill are going to do, because those guys are from the. Correct me if I'm wrong about Austin. I'm pretty sure all 3 of those guys are from trucks, and they all looked pretty solid last season. So I'm curious to see how those guys are going to do. But anyways, bouncing back into the format. So just to reiterate, Wednesdays are qualifying, Thursdays you're qualifying, but in a racing form with the duels.
Antonio, I got a question.
Yes, sir. Fire away.
Is there practice between qualifying and the duels?
I don't believe so.
So these guys are literally going to go run a qualifying 2 laps and then turn around and go straight into racing.
Yeah, it's crazy,
bro.
this
You
year.
just hold it flat. Haven't you done it?
Yeah,
crazy
that's
this
it.
year.
There's nothing. It's
Yeah,
crazy. They're
that's it.
sending you right into it. You got to
And
feel
that's-
for guys
that's-
like Travis. That's going to be crazy for
Yeah.
him, man.
How
He's
many
no
years has it been
experience.
since he's raced? Like 8-10 years, maybe?
It was probably
seems like
2012 is when he was. I'll get some
Yeah.
information on that.
Even then,
Yeah,
truck to cup. That's a big difference, especially these
Oh,
cup
yeah.
cars now.
Yeah, different cars. Even if they had seat time in the old car, these are new cars. I don't think any of those guys have been. Jimmy Johnson's team, he races for his own team at Legacy Motor Club. We know, like, he's part owner in that. We know that he can get around the track. But I mean, it's a different ball game when you're part owner in the car you're driving, I would think, anyways. He's got 1 teammate, I think, in the race, Noah. I mean, Noah Gragson's going to be with him, but like you say, Norman, if you finish right behind or in front of your teammate, in the qualifier or whatever, then in qualifying you won't be in the
Don't have
duels
no
to help
teammates.
out. Yeah, they're going to get split up. I've seen it before where there's one Hendrick guy in one of them, and the other 3 are in the other race, the other duel. So, and then that's how you make it in. With these guys, they've got to be in. But I really think the qualify to get in guys, the open charter guys are it's exciting. I always watch for them. The duels are pretty fun for that. You get to watch them try to win their way in.
They're great
Oh,
names.
yeah, without a doubt.
Man, can you imagine being Noah? They're like, hey, welcome to full-time stock car racing. We're going to pair you with Jimmy Johnson for the Daytona 500.
I
don't
forgot.
mess it up.
Yeah, and I forgot. Sorry, Eric Jones is also on that team. So I mean, there's some decent younger guys. I call them younger guys, not that young anymore. But Eric Jones, Noah Gragson, Jimmy.
I like
Yeah, it'd
Noah.
be crazy for sure.
Call me a bandwagoner, but I like
Bandwagoner.
Noah.
Yeah, it looks like Travis Pastrana hasn't been in a NASCAR affiliated series since 2017 or 2020.
Yeah, I mean, and I don't think he was in the big cars at that time. And like
No,
Antonio
it's
said,
truck
the
series.
big cars. Yeah, Antonio said the cars have changed anyways, or Dave, one of y'all said it's a different car anyways. I mean, it's new to everybody, but it's really new to them. And the no practice thing is just blowing my mind, because Daytona practice isn't like regular practice either. And I'm sure y'all can all vouch for me on this. But when they used to practice, they usually wouldn't get in big groups. They would go out with their teammates or affiliated teams, run 10, 15, 20 laps, maybe even go a whole fuel run, and they'd all pull in together. Once they got bunched up, they would just all break apart because they didn't want to wreck their cars, have an accident. And so practice really wasn't ever practice. But for these guys that haven't been in a car for 5 years,
Definitely
I
nice to
mean,
have.
over the last 5 years, I think we've went different car big time, sequential shifting. There's just and sequential shifting is easy enough, but I'm just saying it's different from what they're used to. I'm sure the gauges are all, updated and just different things. The feel of the car is probably completely different.
Well, you got to
It's going to
get
be nuts this year.
the cars. They move around. It's 5 o'clock traffic at 200 miles an hour. That's what the Daytona 500 is. And
Yeah.
the cars don't sit still; they move. And to go from not knowing what that feels like to having it happen. I don't know how many of y'all have ever drafted behind a semi and feel how much your car moves around at 70 miles an hour going down the interstate. Now let's double that and put you at 200 miles an hour. Those cars don't sit still.
Yeah.
So them
Triple
not
almost.
having any time to get up to speed on that, I don't get it.
It's kind of dangerous, to be honest with you, but
I think that's the allure of it, though, right? Like we're racing,
yeah,
like it's the big one. Like, even that's something as a relatively new NASCAR fan that has been a motorsports fan for a while is blown away by is when the announcers are like, "Well, they're due for the big one." I'm like, "Oh, so all these pros are gonna bin it into the wall?" Like it's just an assumption.
Oh, yeah.
And
Oh,
at
yeah.
plate,
No,
at
it's going to
plate,
happen.
at plate tracks, it's gonna happen. And so. And it's going to be really interesting to see how safe these cars are with all these rear crumple zones and all the whatever. Like, we'll see. Because the big one's coming.
yeah, for sure. We do actually get some practice. So as I said, Wednesday qualifying, Thursday duels. Then we get Friday. You get a practice, like an evening practice. So maybe if the race runs late, that'll give you some time. And then Saturday they got final practice, bright and early, like 10:30. And then that's about it. Then we head right into the Daytona 500 on Sunday. I mean, I don't know. Is anybody pulling double duty and running truck and or Xfinity and Cup or?
Ooh.
I don't know. I never looked into that, to be honest
No,
with
you
you.
know
I
what?
know.
There's got
I
to
don't
be
think
a
it happens
couple of
too much
guys
in
that will
Daytona,
be.
but I would just think the experience would be handy if there's, because especially with there being no practice, like having that, like maybe more so for the guys that actually like, we're gonna make it kind of thing. Like Bush, I know he owns a truck, so like it'd be an easy opportunity for him to just jump in and run some laps, right? So it makes you wonder.
You would think the likes of like Pastrana, you'd think you'd want to have him in an Xfinity car or a truck at least. Even if he doesn't make it, it's worth the trip to be there. At least he gets to race something. And then if he does qualify in or race his way in, he gets the extra seat time and gets used to at least something in the draft going into the 500 at full race conditions.
Yeah, it definitely makes a difference having some sort of experience, especially at that kind of speed. Because a lot of the other motorsports, I mean, I feel like we definitely get to like speeds, but maintaining that speed for an entire race with all that movement, like it's got to be like substantially different.
Well, think
Like,
they do 200 laps. There's 4 turns, but we know that turn 1 and turn 2 are one turn, and turn 3 and turn 4 are one turn. When you go through 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, it's like having a gorilla sit in your lap. And you have to do that 400 times.
That's insane.
It's nuts. And just your heart rate being completely up for that long. Because, I mean, you're inches away from each other. You're bumping the guy in front of you. The guy behind you is bumping you. He's trying not to bump you too hard. Then the guy behind him bumps him. Then 4 or 5 cars, and then you waggle. It goes back and forth. You do the snake. And then you're back in line. You take a little breather, and then somebody hits you from behind again. I mean, it's just constant.
Yeah. And then you've got your spotter yelling in your ear the whole time. Car high, car low, car high, car low, car high. Runs coming on the outside. Well, lane on the inside.
On Dave's point, he said the announcers are sitting up there. They know the big one's coming. The guys in the car know it's coming too. It's only a matter of time. So when's it going to be? Now? 5 minutes from now, 5 laps from now, like who knows?
All right, back to the question: are there any truck and cup double entries? Yes, quite a few. Corey LaJoy will be double entry. Chase Elliott will be a double entry. Travis Pastrana also a double entry. Interesting names to mention on the trucks. Parker Klingerman will be running for Henderson Motorsports in the truck. Let's see. There's a couple of these names I'm not familiar with, but yeah, I'm kind of surprised to see Chase Elliott's name on this list.
I'm not. He ran in a truck a few times last season, I thought. Or he's done it before, at least in the last few years.
I guess it just seems like a high stakes situation, you know?
I
It
think
is.
it's seat time.
And it isn't. Yeah. I mean, the more you can get in a car, the more, you kind of know what's going on. Daytona and Talladega are weird ones, and Daytona's even weirder because it's a tighter. I don't know. I've raced it on iRacing. It's the only thing I haven't been out on the track, but it's just it seems like there's less real estate at Daytona. So much less real estate than Talladega.
Yeah.
Oh, there is. And it gets. I feel like the track narrows after every lap too.
Yeah, and then the fact that you're coming to the end of you may be a Daytona 500 winner if you do things right.
Zane Smith is also a double entry. I didn't see that, but he's an actual full-time truck driver. So he's maining
cool.
the trucks an independent entering the 500.
So with these new cars, you think we'll have any shenanigans
Heck yeah.
with the trying to shave the, back windows or something? Somebody trying to push their luck.
Absolutely.
Because you still gotta have post race inspections and all that stuff.
You ain't cheap, you ain't trying, bro.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the 500. You got to send it.
I think the worst one I ever heard of was my dad told me this story, and then I've seen it a lot, and I don't know if y'all hear about Smokey Unick. He was like one of the biggest cheaters in NASCAR. But one time he came to Daytona 500, back in the '60s, I think. Anyways, he brought a Chevelle, and it was one of those they were racing, and he just whooped it up on all the Fords and the Chryslers, and then somebody else got to looking at it. And he had actually trimmed the car down to 7/8 the scale of every other Chevelle.
Oh my God.
He had rebuilt the complete car. And so it was like cutting through the air like crazy because it was like it was 7/8 the size. It was just small enough he thought he could get away with it. And he did for a while until somebody caught on.
It might have
But
been
yeah.
him or someone else. Didn't a team got caught back in the day acid dipping their cars? Have you heard about that? They would take the whole they would take the whole frame and everything, and they would dip it in an acid tank and let it eat away like 30% of the mass. And then they would put it back in the car. And they got caught because, and I think I heard it on Smokey's interview on Dale Jr. Download, but I don't know if it was him that did it. But it's where I heard the story. And some steward was coming by, and he leaned up against the car and put his elbow on over the driver door, like around the A-pillar or whatever, and the whole thing just crumpled like paper on the elbow.
That's awesome.
I'm sure that passes the safety standard.
Yeah. I'm sure it probably was. Smokey Unick, after hearing that story, my dad told me, at first you're like, whatever. And then you kind of think about it. You're like, man, that's totally clever, especially back in late 60s for somebody to just rebuild a whole complete car and have the balls to roll it up to
a little bit smaller
Daytona 500 and make sure it isn't sitting right next to another car until, you get busted.
They're like,
and then,
that's not the right size. He's like,
yeah,
yeah.
they're like, wait a minute. Look,
fine.
his car looks smaller than ours. But then,
I don't remember who it was. I want to say it was Harry Grant in the 33 Skull car. Just don't hold me to that. But they had, before even Formula One had DSR, they had formed a DSR in their car and took it to Daytona. And right before the race went, the crew chief was too afraid and pulled it off the car.
Like the back wing, like DRS?
Yeah, like he would drop his spoiler down the straightaways.
Oh yeah,
Love
Dude
it.
invented DRS.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah, yeah. He invented it himself, and then F1's
Soon
like,
we're
hey,
gonna
that
see.
works.
We're gonna see Das soon.
Yeah,
Come into NASCAR.
pushing their steering wheels in. Well, you guys want to go down an entry list?
We could go over the odds too. I found Bet MGM's
Ooh, give
odds
me
of
those
who they
odds.
think.
I could care
Who they
less in a
think.
minute. I want to know.
What are these odds, Antonio?
Okay, so we got our top 8 here, and this will be
Hold
good
on,
later.
hold on. Can we use this after our picks that we've made for the end of the show, or can we change them
Say
now?
so. I'd say so. I don't necessarily.
I haven't
agree.
seen
I
the
don't
odds
necessarily
yet.
agree. I don't necessarily agree with these, to be fair. So I'm cool with that.
All right, go ahead.
Vegas ain't always
Okay.
right.
Yeah, there you go. So, okay, so it's the top 8 choices. We got 12-1 odds. We have Denny Ham Jam, Chase Elliott, Ryan Blaney. Then we got 14-1. We got Joey Logano, Kyle Larson, Kyle Busch, and then 16-1. They got Willie B and Ross Chastain. I'm not sure I necessarily agree with all these.
No, me neither.
However, they're all kind of there. I don't know about me. I don't know. Maybe I'm counting Joey out. I probably shouldn't be, but Denny's always there. Chase is always there. Blaney's always there. So I'm gonna agree with those 3. Joey, Larson, and Busch.
Joey's there. He just gets wrecked out.
Yeah, I don't know. I honestly can't recall how he's done recently. Has Larson done good on plate tracks?
I mean,
I feel like he hasn't.
he's in it. Yeah, I mean, what car is he bringing to it? He's got a chance, but it's not his bread and butter.
Yeah.
You know who I'm shocked not to hear? Kevin Harvick.
I was surprised too. That was actually a big take on me.
Was Denny on there?
Oh, 100%. He was the first
Yeah,
pick.
Denny's top pick.
Okay.
No arguing that.
No.
Martin Truex not to be there.
Oh man.
Yeah.
I don't know if I agree with all those, but
Yeah,
I think I
Martin
don't.
Truex,
I mean, what about Ross Chastain? Is that just in there because people like if you're not into NASCAR, you just know that name now? It's like,
Yeah, maybe right. Vegas just throwing it in there because everybody knows the name and they want to bet on something.
isn't that guy that did that thing at that place?
Doesn't Austin Dillon have 2 wins? 2 500 wins?
I thought it was just one.
Is it just one?
I know he's got one wrecked catch fence.
Wasn't that
I think he's got more than one of those.
He might have 2 actually. I don't know. All I remember is when I saw his engine fly by, I was like, "Oh, that's not good." I was like, "That one can't be good."
Yeah, so I'm
I
showing
know.
that I think 2018 was his when he won it. I think that's the only time he's won.
Yeah, he finished
I thought he was
3rd
down
in
in the wall.
2021.
Yeah,
So, all right.
and he might have won in the nationwide, Xfinity. I don't know. Back then, he might have won it then, but it ain't 500.
Well, you guys want to do some picks?
Oh, I was thinking of 2015 when Dylan put it in the fence. Damn, that was that long ago. Oh my god!
I know time flies, right?
Freaking 8 years ago.
Only
Yeah,
if you're having fun.
does that move into our brand new segment idea?
Yeah, I think so. What's it called?
Should I explain it? All right, baby. We got the new segment, okay? Hear me out. This is how it goes. You can either bin it, be in it, or you can win it. And we're going to pick. You got to pick someone who's going to bin it, pick someone who's going to win it, and someone who's going to be in it. And they can't be the same. And we can't pick the same of the 4 of us, we can't pick the same one of who we think's going to win. You can pick say Dave wants Busch to win and I want Busch to bin it. We can pick that, but we can't pick the same winner. That's all that matters.
I can't believe you said that.
It was just an example. Okay.
Wow. All right, Antonio, I want to hear your picks first.
My picks first. Okay. Who do I think? So let's go. We'll go win it, and then we'll go in it, and then we'll go bin it. Or should we go vice versa? Maybe we should go worst to best.
Yeah.
I think worst to best. You said it, man. Bin it, in it, win it.
Worst to best, eh? Okay. I will say I have no disrespect for the guy. by any means. He did some crazy
I'm
stuff at
trash on him.
Martinsville. He did some crazy stuff at Martinsville, but I have this hunch that Ross Chastain is going to come in over his head this race, and he's going to bin it. I'm going to call that now. That's my pick. Bin it.
Heard it here
Ross
first.
Chastain.
I like it.
Bennett.
Like it? Like it.
Love it.
So, in it's hard because there's a lot of choices of guys who are going to be in it. But if we're talking like a guy who's going to be like right there,
In it, baby.
if he's going to be right there, but he isn't going to win, I'm going to do the weird thing. I'm going to pick Denny Hamlin. He's always there. And I know he's won it 3 times, but I don't want him to win because I have another fantastic human that I want to win.
Uh-huh.
But
I
he's
can't
going to be
figure
in
this
it.
one out.
He's
Yeah,
gonna,
we all know what's coming.
Hey now. I got supporting evidence for my win it. I just want to say that right now. Okay? I think Ryan Blaney is finally going to win it. You know why? I have valid evidence, okay? First of all, I can't remember what year
Yeah,
it was.
boy.
I want to say it was 2020 or something. Maybe 2021. He won Talladega. 2, he's always at the front end of play track if he's not wrecked out. Like always in contention in the top like 6, 7. 100% every time. Guaranteed. On the money. And 3rd, I think he's lost enough. Like within the last couple laps, he was at the front or leading. Like, and as an example, I can't remember if it was like last year or the year before. I think it was Daytona when Chase got him on the last, like coming out of 4, because he didn't go up and block. I feel like he's been through enough of these scenarios that like he'll finally figure it out. I got my money on him, and I'm doing it. And I would be, if he wins, I'll be so happy. That's all I'm gonna say. When he won Dega,
quick.
I was screaming at the TV. It was great.
Real quick, Antonio, can you remind me what manufacturer he drives for?
Nope, I couldn't tell you. Unfortunately, not the most winning one because we already
Ford
know
Motor Company?
Chevy's got the most wins. We already know that. Like if you go look at the list of Daytona 500 wins, here let's actually look the stat up. I had it ready somewhere and I don't know
Ryan
where
Blaney
it went.
only drove a Chevy.
I know. If only he would be perfect.
If only.
That's my
If-
favorite country song.
Only.
If only Ryan Blaney drove a Chevy.
Only Blaney drove a Chevy.
Oh,
Only
here it is.
Blaney
I found
drove
it.
a
No.
Chevy.
I found it. Chevy's got 23 Daytona 500 wins. I just want to put that out there.
Ew.
Ford, a low measly 17. Okay.
Oh,
Hello, Beasley.
Under your predictions, that'll be 18.
Yeah, true story. You're actually, if you pick, your pick is actually helping against you.
Hey, you know what? If my pick wins, Ford's still not the most winning manufacturer of the 500, so I don't care, okay? That's all that matters. We'll work on getting him on Hendrick, okay? We're working on it, okay? We're trying to convert him. I'm sending him DMs, but he's not reading them.
dang it.
Just read the DMs right.
Ryan.
Like, come on, man. Buy the
Right.
Chevy. You know it's better. Anyways. Okay, I think Davis, your turn next.
All right. Bennett, Kyle Busch.
Oh,
Straight up.
Ooh.
Damn.
Welcome to Chevy.
Hater.
I think he drives with anger in his heart, bro. And I don't think that gets you anywhere.
This is
You know what
coming
I'm
from a
saying?
Logano fan. I just want to say that.
Yeah.
Hey, that,
Spoiler
you
alert.
skipped 2 picks, okay? You still got to do the in it first, all right?
Like, bro, don't be mad. Like, just chill, Kyle. Like, he just lost it, okay? Like, it wasn't intentional. Just relax. Anyway, Kyle Busch to Bennett because I think that's hilarious. I'm gonna so you spoil alert a little bit, but my boy Joey, I'm not picking him to win because I mean I think he's gonna be in it is my point. I think you see him running top 5, top 8 near the end of the race, and I think that he might be the key to Antonio's boy taking it if that happens. I really like the Ryan Blaney pick to win it. That's a great pick. I'm gonna throw a dark horse in there, Mr. AJ Allmendinger to win it.
That's not much of a
that's
dark
not a
horse,
bad
honestly. If he gets a chance, this could happen.
Dinger, man, he's inspiring. I love me some Dinger. Seriously.
Yeah, I like him, man. I'm sorry. A lot of people, I think there's some people that don't. I love the dude. I'm with you.
Yep. So Dinger to win it. I think Logano is in it, and Mr. Bush, go Bennett.
Poor guy. Bush didn't do nothing wrong to nobody. Can't believe you put that on him.
He's just got that look. You know what I'm saying? You meet that guy, it's like, dude,
you gotta give it to him though. I mean, he
great.
owns it, right?
He
awesome. Owns it. He actually did the Marshawn Lynch. I'm only here because they made me in an interview.
No,
How'd the race go today? How'd the race go today, Kyle? I'm only here because they made me. So do you think he had a chance to win today? I'm only here because they made me. It was amazing. I love it.
He's the man, but I think he eats wall on lap 65.
What do you put money on that in Vegas or what?
I will. Let's go. Bennett.
Yeah.
I had a vision.
Norman, you're up, bud. Who's your picks?
All right.
Bennett.
I'm gonna say, and this isn't gonna be a surprise. Austin Dillon.
Valid.
Yeah.
I support that.
And it's not just a Bennett. He's gonna cause the big one like normal.
Ooh.
Like normal.
Like normal. Man said.
In the
Yeah.
back
That one hurt.
number 3.
In it, I'm gonna say Kevin Harvick's gonna be there.
Good one.
You're not gonna know that he's there, and then all of a sudden he's gonna be there like he's Kevin Harvick.
I was gonna say, yep.
That's Kevin Harvick. And I'm gonna go out on a branch because I don't want to pick too easy. I'm gonna go Eric Almirola for the win.
Awesome.
He's a good restrictor plate race, or used to be restrictor plate racing, but restrictor plate racing, and I think he knows how to get it done, and I think he finally pulls it off this year and is in victory lane.
So I just want to point out for the record that Norman picked a Chevy to Bennett, and his other 2 picks were Fords. Just so we can get that straight.
Yeah.
Okay, he'll be disappointed when he's wrong. I just want to say statistically, I have an advantage here because there's more Chevys in the race. I just want to say that. I'm just putting it out there.
But your boy's not a Chevy.
You know what? That doesn't matter. Okay. Still,
is he gonna be the only Ford to finish the race and win it?
Hopefully. If he wins and everyone else is a Chevy, I'm totally cool with that. That's fine with me.
I don't think that would happen. I think the Chevys would team up on him and he would just be left out to dry.
Yeah, probably. But, I can dream.
All right, Levi, let's hear it.
Yes, sir. So my Bennett, and I cannot believe y'all didn't take him. I mean, you just left him out there. Ricky Stenhouse.
We knew you were going to take him.
Come on, boys. I mean, he's going to Bennett, dude. You know he is.
His car's sponsored by a toilet paper company.
Yeah, I'm telling you that you're going to need to wipe him up after it's over. I'm telling you. What's going to happen is, and the same thing that happens a lot, is he's going to cause about 2 or 3 of them. Then he's finally going to get picked up in them. And then he'll be like, see, he didn't need to be there anyways. Why can't we just take him out at the first? Sorry. I'm not harsh, okay? There's no feelings there from past history where he's done this before many a time.
He's going to have to call up Anthony Alfredo and get a dude wipe.
Mm-hmm.
That's funny.
Well, we all know who it is, but who is it?
Yeah, the in it just. I think Kyle Larson will be up there all day, man, but he's not gonna be able to pull it off. I think you're gonna think it's his year, but he's not gonna do it. And then the Martin Truex
Cowboys
Jr.
fans.
Yeah, true, right? And then Martin Truex Jr. I'm going for him to win. I want him to. I think it's his year. He just came off a win at the Clash, and he kind of knows how to get his way around, So I'm, got the gray beard, looking classy. I think he's gonna
like MTJ, man. I hope he succeeds. I hope he does great this year. I love the guy.
That'd be a great way to start the season. Not winning last year and then winning the expedition race at the Coliseum and then coming to the 500 and taking it.
I just want the feel good finish. That's it.
That would be a feels good finish.
I think it's
Levi, did you ever say the driver's name of your Bennett, or did you just assume that everyone knew who it was?
Oh no, we heard it loud and clear.
He said Ricky S.
The Cottonelle Kroger. Number
man.
47, Chevrolet. In the wall, he says.
Well,
They couldn't put the
boys.
doo-doo on the car, so they put the wipe on the car, you know?
Well,
Nice.
boys, I think that's going to wrap us up for this episode. Catch us
I know
next
we're
week
trying to leave.
for a full race review of what happened during the Great American Race.
It's going to be amazing. Sunday, boys. We're almost there.
Norman's getting angry. Eh? You gotta go. You gotta go cook up that dinner, huh? Got the
Norman's
chicken
always
on
like, gotta go make
the,
that.
cooking the chicken. What?
Really have to go make
Eating
that.
leftovers.
I'm surprised you're not door dashing it.
I DoorDashed it last night. I'm eating leftovers from it.
What do you DoorDash in Alabama anyway? A gator or something?
Gator and chitlins. Barbecue sauce.